Hey everyone, Toshiba Security here, and today we're going to be looking at the new 5 megapixel panoramic cameras, the IK-WF51A and the IK-WF51R. There's two different models of these cameras. The 51A is an indoor camera, and the outdoor version is the WF51R. The one that we're going to be looking at today is the WF51A, the indoor version, as indicated by the little sticker here. And we'll just run over some of the highlights of the specifications on these cameras. These cameras are basically the same cameras, same specifications, with exception to the type of housing that it has. So these cameras are a 5 megapixel CMOS sensor. They actually come with IR LED illumination built into the camera, and it has true day-night functions. At 5 megapixels, it can do up to 15 frames a second, and in full 1080p HD, it can go up to 30 frames a second. These cameras support both 802.3 AF standard PoE and 802.3 AT PoE plus. They have a SD card slot in these cameras. It is ONVIF Profile S compliant, and the outdoor version is IP66 rated for weatherproofing and also IK10 vandal resistant. So let's go ahead and open up the box and see what we have inside. So if we open up the package here, we have the alignment sticker that you can attach to your mounting surface, and this alignment sticker lets you know where to drill the mounting holes to mount this camera. This alignment sticker is going to be a little bit different for the outdoor version. This is for the indoor WF51A. When you open up the box here, you have the actual camera itself, and if you look at the bottom of the box, there's a couple of bags at the bottom of the box. One is some wall anchors and some mounting screws. There's also a couple of cable ties there as well. And there's another bag that contains a cable to attach to the camera that lets you connect audio input and output, and also your digital input and output. Now let's take a look at the camera itself here. This is the indoor version again, the IK-WF51A. It's a gray and black color, and the IR LEDs are actually in this black area, so it does have built-in IR LEDs even though you can't see them. And this model is about 6.3 inches in diameter, and it has a low profile. It's 1.5 inches in height. So the way that you open up this camera is there's a little notch on top of the Toshiba logo that you push in, and you can just remove the cover from there. It's sometimes a little bit tricky, but if you pry it open, you can see that there's two different notches where the cover attaches to the camera on the top and the bottom. And the cover also has a little notch here that you can pull out. It's a little rubber stopper that you pull out for routing your cable to the side if you want to do it that way. The camera actually has a notch, and this is where your Ethernet cable would go through into the wall, or you could have it come out the top of the camera by taking out that rubber notch here, like so. So you can see it's pretty easy to install this camera. It has 4 different notches out here on the metal plate where you can anchor it to the wall or to the ceiling. And with this camera, the IK-WF51A, there's actually 3 different mounting options based on the image flip. You can do it on the ceiling, or you can do it on a wall, and you can actually do it on a desktop type of mount. So we talked about the IR LEDs being inside the cover, even though you can't see them. And if you look on the inside of the cover, you can see that there's these contacts, and these contacts are actually what power up the IR LEDs. So the IR LEDs are located in here in this metal ring. And there is a little caution sticker that says caution hot surface, and that's because these LEDs, when they turn on, produce some amount of heat. So if we take a look at the camera, it's pretty basic with the connections. Here you have your RJ45 for your Ethernet cable, and again, this can be powered by standard PoE or PoE Plus. You also have your connector for your audio cable and digital input-output cable here that's included in the camera. Here's your contacts for the IR LEDs. You have your reset button here on the camera. You can actually push in to reboot the camera, or you hold it down longer to actually factory default the camera. And these cameras, as we mentioned before, has an SD card slot. It's a micro SD card slot, and it's right over here. So this is where the SD card slot goes. And of course you have your fisheye lens here. So it's a pretty basic camera, pretty easy to install, to connect. Most likely you just connect the RJ45 cable and route it through the wall. Next, we'll take a look at what the image actually looks like on the camera itself. So once you've installed your panoramic camera and connected to a PoE switch on your local area network, and have a Windows compatible workstation connected to the same network, you'll want to install the Installation Wizard software onto that workstation. The Installation Wizard software can be downloaded from our website, www.toshibasecurity.com, or in some cases it's included with the camera on a CD. Once you've installed the Installation Wizard, go ahead and open that up and click on Yes for the user access control. And the Installation Wizard will analyze your network environment. Click on Next to follow the Installation Wizard, and the Installation Wizard will actually find all of the Toshiba cameras on your network. So it'll list all of them on that same subnet. So right here you can see it has found my IK-WF51 camera. It shows what the IP address is and what the MAC address is. So if I double click on that, it'll open up my default browser, which is Internet Explorer. And because the cameras use an ActiveX component, it does need Internet Explorer, and the first time you run it, it'll ask you to install the ActiveX component, so you want to allow the camera to install the ActiveX component. So once you go through the installation of the ActiveX component, you'll see that the panoramic camera default view is in its original mode, which is what we call a warped mode. And to change that from the warped mode to different display modes, you can click on this little drop down list here under display mode, and you can see you have several different options for display mode. So before we get to that, this camera, the IK-WF51A, does do camera side dewarping, which is nice, so that the stream coming from the camera is already a dewarped image, so you don't necessarily have to have software side dewarping. So getting back to the display modes, you can see we have several different modes. 1O stands for the original. If I click on 1P, you can see this takes that original warped mode and it dewarps it into a single panoramic. If I click on 1R, this turns that panoramic image into just one regional, and I can then go ahead and do an electronic PTZ on this one region. I can pan, and then I can zoom in and zoom out. The other display modes that are available is a 2P, which stands for 2 panoramic. So it basically takes that one panoramic and divides it into two different halves. And then we also have my favorite, which is the 103R, which stands for 1 original and 3 regional. So you can see on the upper hand right here is your original view, and then you have 3 regional views. So you can highlight these regional views, and you can do an electronic PTZ within those regions, and you can see it'll show up on your original mode where in the panoramic view you are in terms of electronic PTZ. And you can do this for each region, and you can zoom in with a different zoom factor for each region as well. And it's nice that it shows up on your original view to let you know where in the field of view you're at. Or you can just highlight your original view and click on the number and pan around within your panoramic view, and it'll automatically move that region. So that's a very nice feature. This is actually one of my favorite views. You also have the 4 region, which is the same. It just it does 4 regional views and doesn't give you that original mode. Or you can have a 4R Pro, which uses the native aspect ratio instead of the square aspect ratio for your regions. And then you have the 108R, which is 1 original and 8 regional. So same concept as the 103R, but this time just with 8 regions. So that's the basic view, different display modes on the panoramic cameras. Depending on your VMS software or your network video recorder, some of these views may not be available. You'll have to check with your recorder or VMS manufacturer for that. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and please visit our website www.toshibasecurity.com for more information on the panoramic cameras and other products as well.